So apparently Grace's nerdy electrolyte chat in episode 1 was a hit and Grace is buzzing. And in a very wholesome plot twist, we now have Ocean, Grace's favourite electrolyte brand, sponsoring this whole series.
Honestly, it's a dream. And because they are angels, they've given us a juicy discount code just for Two's Company listeners. But first, I just want to remind you why electrolytes matter, even if you're not, say, a 10K loving, sweaty for fun athlete like Sophie over here.
I feel attacked already.
Hydration actually starts on a cellular level. Your cells don't just want plain water. In fact, too much non-mineral water can do more harm than good. They need minerals like magnesium, potassium, chloride, and sodium to get all their tiny, important cellular jobs done. And let's not forget that our cellular function is the backbone of our physiology and our health, folks. But here's the kicker. Because loads of electrolyte brands are basically salt slushies with random flavourings and sweeteners chucked in. And you really just don't need all that nonsense.
Okay, yes, I have definitely been drinking the nonsense once.
So Ocean is pure, simple, unadulterated goodness. No weird stuff. It comes in this very easy pump bottle, so you know exactly how much to measure into your glass. I tend to have it first thing in the morning, especially because you're at your most dehydrated first thing.
Wait, you're saying that my first thing cup of tea isn't hydration?
I'm saying we'll circle back to that with love and compassion, Soph.
Right. Anyway, Ocean are giving you 10% off with the code Two's Company. That's 2 the number, you know the drill. Pop that in at checkout at drinkocean.co, Ocean spelled OSHUN.
We genuinely love this stuff and we really hope you do too. Big thanks to Ocean.
Two's Company, Two's Company, Two's Company, Two's Company, Two's Company, Two's Company. But not 3, that's too much company.
Nailed it. Hello and welcome back to Two's Company, Series 2, Episode 9, the podcast that spans cultural fluff, serious news and politics, fashion, and basically anything else we want to talk about that we think, no, we know, you'll find interesting. My name is Grace Kingswell. I'm a nutritional therapist, and my lovely co-host here is the brilliantly multi-hyphenate Sophie Hellier.
Job titles aside, this season we're diving into all the things that sit outside of our day jobs, but right in the middle of what fascinates, challenges, and occasionally morally puzzles us.
This week, we are talking about fashion trends, skincare, Avril Lavigne, yes, salmon sperm again. Sorry, we keep talking about salmon sperm. Some quite alarming info on tattoos and delving into some more serious topics too, like how Sophie donated eggs to IVF when she was younger and how she feels about that now.
That is a chaotic mix of subjects. Think of it as our curated chaos, where we chat, question, laugh, and hopefully just make you feel like you're having a proper natter with your best mate.
Okay, let's get into the episode. So, how's your week been, Soph? What is new in your world and potentially in your wardrobe? Can't keep up with your wardrobe.
Firstly, I apologise for my voice. My sinuses are very blocked. I'm having a bit of a chlorine allergy reaction again. And normally I wouldn't record while I sounded like this. Historically, we've postponed when one of us has been a bit snotty, but we have a quite tight deadline because Grace is due a baby today, tomorrow.
Well,
so I
Thursday.
cannot postpone.
Yeah, is my due date.
Okay,
but I feel
2
like
days.
they tell you when you're 37 weeks, like, oh, you're full term now. It could come any day. But what they really should say is don't get your hopes up until you're after 40 weeks because it's not going to come. So
I know 37 weeks up to 42 weeks is a long old time.
I think we could actually probably record another episode next week.
Well, we will be trying to. Yeah, so I don't sound great. Sorry, but we got to go on with the podcast. I had a lovely weekend away in Dorset. I went to a friend's wedding and it was just the most perfect, beautiful day. Not even like a whole weekend. It was just absolutely lovely. What was really fun was that the groom was a paleontologist. Is that how you say it? Like Ross in Friends. So all the groomsmen were paleontologists of different niches, whether it was stuff from billions of years ago or more recent, like 10,000 years ago. I had really great chats with all the guys all night. They're all on David Attenborough documentaries about, one of them is the woolly mammoth extinction expert. He was a very fun character. So yeah, I just had a great time chatting about rocks all night.
Do you think most of us wouldn't know what a paleontologist was if it wasn't for Friends? I
I'd
think
say
so.
that is correct.
I think so.
The groom is like real life Ross.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it was
good.
so good. Had such a nice time.
It looked like you didn't just kind of pop up for the weekend and then back. It looked like you kind of made it into a bit of a stay and you had a nice Airbnb to yourself and did some nice swims and saunering and stuff.
Yeah, I got there in the evening and took myself off for a little dinner, and I had my audiobook on, and I sat in a restaurant on my own listening to an audiobook, had a lovely time. And then in the morning I got up, did a park run, went for a sea swim, had a sauna, went back, got showered and dressed and off to the wedding. I also went to the wedding on my own, no plus one, and I did the whole wedding sober because that's how extroverted I am.
Does not alcohol to fuel your chat. That's so nice. I feel like last time we talked, which was last week, you were talking about clawing these little pieces of yourself back to you. And I just want to say well done for booking an extra night away as a mum, because I think the mum guilt of sometimes leaving your kid, like I think I would have gone up and back in a day, because weddings don't typically start till like 2 p.m. So you could have driven up in the morning, done the wedding, maybe stayed that night and come back the next morning. But yeah, I know. I'm like, Johnny, did you not clock what she was doing?
Johnny ideas.
So nice one. Good job.
I also, I don't know if I've got a screw loose. I have never ever had mum guilt about taking time away. Last year I went to Greece with my sister for a week. I went on a yoga retreat in France with my best friend for a week. I was in Wales last week camping for 4 days. I was in the wedding this weekend. Like, I'm away all the time. I never feel guilty about it. Is that bad?
I probably can answer the question, have you got a screw loose? But let's move on.
Politely, be polite. Grace was a couple of minutes late for this podcast because she'd forgotten to turn the Wi-Fi off. And it reminded me of this thing I say every evening and every morning. The Wi-Fi on, sorry. I think it's an expression that I got from you, that in the morning I wake the house up and in the evening I put the house to bed. Did that expression come from you?
I do sometimes. Yeah, I do say like putting that. Well, we talk about putting the garden to bed, Nick and I, because there's always like loads.
You put the garden to bed.
Yeah.
So I put the house to bed, which means I go around and I shut all the blinds and I leave a little lamp on and make sure the dishes are done, blah, blah. And in the morning, I wake the house up. So I go around and open all the curtains, empty the dehumidifier, empty the bins, make sure everything's tidy. It's like you forgot to wake the house up this morning because you had a lie-in.
I did.
So your Wi-Fi did not get turned on.
I sort of had a lie-in. I woke up at 6 and then, oh my gosh, big news. So last night, I knew it was going to happen at some point, and I don't think it's going to necessarily happen again. But so we've talked a lot about how my nearly 4-year-old has just been co-sleeping with me since we were in Australia, because he got very used to having us in his bedroom because we were helping him through the jet lag, yada, yada, yada. And he just goes down in my bed. Anyway, last night he said, I'm going to sleep alone in my big boy room. And I was like, okay. That means I'm going to be woken up at 2. And the night before, he unfortunately wet the bed, which is quite unusual for him now. But I was changing sheets at 2:30 a.m. So I was like, oh my God, a second night in a row where he's then just going to walk into my bed and wake me up at some point. He slept all the way through in his big boy bed on his own until 6:30 a.m. So I don't know if that's the end of an era. I know. I actually really missed him and I didn't feel like I slept as well.
The end of an era 2 days before the next era.
No,
someone else will be sharing your bed soon.
Yeah, so true. And anyway, then when I woke up this morning, I was like, I'm still actually really tired. And it's so unusual for me to be able to go back to sleep. But once Nick was awake, I was like, I might just try. And then I woke up at 8:45. And that was that.
It's a big lie-in. I don't think I've slept in that long for about 5 years.
Yeah. And you always like actually feel worse when you've had more sleep. Like I feel really tired now. But anyway. Is that all of your news?
Yeah, I have one other apology, aside from my voice sounding full of snot, that my partner's in a meeting downstairs with the national newspaper that he works for, and he's being very loud, so I'm sorry if you can hear him. There must be some important news going on.
I don't know if we're going to talk about news this week because sometimes I can't be bothered.
Who cares about the news? We're just ignoring the politics. It's like a bad situation, so we just won't talk about it.
Yeah.
Have you finished your renovations? Is it all done?
Yeah, it's all done. My aim this week is to get like photos taken and stuff, and not that sounds like I'm going to have someone take the photos. I'm not. I'm going to use my iPhone. But just so that we're all like prepped, and my hallway has finally been painted, which I was going to do myself. I promise. I was going to do it myself, and then I just really realized that painting skirting boards a different color when the wall itself is like a whitish color is so hard, because you need that really straight line, and it was gonna just look really awful if I did it. So I got someone to do it for me, and it looks amazing, and I love it.
But why have you decided to paint all your skirting boards suddenly anyway?
Yeah, I don't know. Isn't it? I think
Is
it's
this
just
nesting?
it's just
Like,
nesting.
why have you
isn't
suddenly
it?
decided to paint all your house?
It's just
Okay.
nesting, and my Instagram algorithm is only postpartum mum outfits, which I am so excited about, and interiors. Like, that's all I get served on Instagram. So I'm just constantly looking at people's beautiful houses, which are like a lot more colourful than mine. And mine's always just been like a big white box. And I just fancied a little splash of colour in the hallway. So that's what I've done.
Speaking of Instagram algorithms, should we slide into Culture Corner?
Yes, let's do it.
I've read 2 books and I've watched TV. I've got some stuff to recommend to thee.
Is it highbrow, lowbrow, or some other kind of stuff?
It's Culture Corner for cultural fluff.
So I thought it'd be quite fun to just top line the Insta Reels that Sophie and I send each other on a daily basis. Not necessarily delving into any topic in a lot of detail, but there's a lot in here that I think is quite interesting, some quite funny. So this week, inside Sophie and I's DMs, we have Avril Lavigne.
Wait, what did we discuss about Avril Lavigne? I don't even remember that.
I think we were basically saying how she was so, like, her music just defined my upbringing. It defined my generation. I still know every single word of every one of her songs from that big album. It was the first song when I decided I wanted to learn the guitar, we were going to like a family friend's party that evening where, this is like hideously middle class, isn't it? But it was like a New Year's Eve party at one of my parents' friends' houses, and everyone had to bring a talent. And I decided that I wanted to sing and play the guitar and perform something, and I had never picked up a guitar. So my dad taught me in the space of a few hours, and he still like very proudly tells people how I picked up these few chords in a matter of hours, and I learned Complicated on the guitar, and I performed it that same evening.
Sing us a
Anyway,
line.
chill out, what you yelling for? Lay back, it's all been done before. Where are you? Where and when it's at your sea? Anyway, laugh out when you strike your pose, because she's Canadian, so she's got a funny accent.
Oh,
But
dear.
I thought she was a real warrior for endometriosis, but actually, when I Googled it, she had Lyme disease, which is interesting because did you know Shania Twain had Lyme disease and she lost her voice? And that's why Shania Twain now can basically no longer sing. Isn't that mad?
I am always very confused. I can't tell the difference. Shania Twain and Sheryl Crow in my head are the same person. Who sang Man, I Feel Like a Woman?
Shania.
So what's Sheryl Crow's big song? Songs, plural. So they're just in my head, they're the same person. I can't tell them apart. I don't know why.
2 powerhouses, to be sure, but Sheryl Crow sang If It Makes You Happy. And also, all I want to do is have some fun. I got a feeling.
So I prefer Sheryl Crow.
Okay,
I
I
think
prefer
I'm a
Shania
Shania
Twain.
fan. I think I'm a Sheryl fan.
Well, I would highly recommend listeners of the podcast and also Sophie, if you haven't watched the documentary about Shania Twain, it's fascinating because it's all about how she gets this tick bite when she's out horse riding, doesn't know she's got Lyme disease, gets Lyme disease and completely loses her voice. And it's really sad because she was such a gifted singer. It's just kind of mad that happened. Anyway, so Avril Lavigne, I adore.
Sorry, can we just reverse back to Avril Lavigne, away from Shania Twain and Sheryl Crow? Did you know there's a story going around that she isn't who we think she is and that she was replaced at the start of her career by a lookalike. It's like a big internet conspiracy theory, and there's a whole podcast series about it if you want to deep dive it, with the Irish comedian Joanne McNally.
Not
Did you
another
know
one
that?
of your conspiracy theories about people not being. Who did we talk about before that was supposedly
Jim
like.
Carrey.
Yeah, Jim
Or
Carrey.
Jim Carrey. I got told off for saying it wrong.
I'd be really sad if that wasn't the case, because I do love to talk about Avril. The next reel in our DMs was learning that women are 80% of organ donors and men are 80% of recipients.
Ugh, men. And I say men knowing that we have a lot of male listeners, but male listeners, if you have not consented to be on the organ donor list, you're part of the problem. I'm on the organ donor list. Are you? Grace
Yes,
Kingswell?
I was just thinking about this. I believe I am, but I can't remember. Where do you stipulate that?
I have done it in many places, many times. I think you can literally Google it and just consent to something online.
Okay. I think I am.
There we go.
Dozens of Australians are diagnosed with a rare tattoo-related vision loss. More shocking headlines.
Yeah, I sent this one to you, but I didn't read any further into it. Do you want to enlighten us without terrifying anyone too much? I assume you may have done some research and know about this. Or
Yes.
I
Well,
could
I
be wrong.
think I did write a long explain it to me segment about tattoos for this episode, but I think we've decided to park it for episode 10, haven't we? And I will actually go into what happens to the body on an immunological level when you get a tattoo, because it's quite interesting.
Well, I wonder why this is happening in Australia, vision loss related to tattoos, though. Do we know? Did you read it?
I didn't read it.
Really useful headline for you there, folks. On to the next one.
Well, then this is the whole point of our DMs, is that we just send each other stuff, and I just I'm like, oh, she sent me this. Like, sometimes I read it.
Out of
sometimes
context
I
headlines.
don't.
There we have it.
You sent me one about people going to Korea for illegal skin treatments. At this point, our fascination with salmon DNA sperm is frightening.
Yes, on this one, this guy goes to Korea to get illegal skin treatments, but he's actually just getting polynucleotides. You can already get them in the UK. So I know girls who are getting this. They are illegal in the USA. I fact-checked it. And injectable polynucleotides are not FDA approved in the United States for cosmetic use, so you can't have them there. So the Americans are going to Korea to get them. We can just get them done on the high street in Truro.
Wow, okay. But we won't.
Yeah.
Next up was mainstream brands like Zara are putting out barefoot style shoes, which is cool, but also they were really friggin' ugly, so I won't be purchasing them.
Good ugly or bad ugly? Because ugly shoes are fashionable, and you like those, whatever they are, tabby, split toe, ballet flat, disgusting things that all the fashion girls wear. So I don't know if your opinion's actually valid on ugly shoes.
Okay, fine.
No comeback.
No comeback, apart from, I would say, the Zara-y type ones were like bad ugly, like just too wide. Okay. And for some reason, I don't know why, but the hoof ones I'm fine with. Next up in our like really terrifying series of reels that we send ourselves about like awful things and scary stuff is a woman with breast implant sickness thought that parasites were eating away at her face because her face was like had become sort of pitted and looked like the moon with all like craters everywhere, until she discovered that it was one of her breast implants that had leaked. On
the topic of boobs and breast implants, I keep seeing videos of girls getting, I can't think what they're called, but very subtle, it's like baby boob jobs, or they're having asymmetry corrected, and some of them actually look amazing. I just personally, I can't be asked anymore. I live in baggy clothes. No one looks at my boobs. I don't look at my boobs. I think I've just got to a point where I don't care that much. But obviously we're speaking from a place of having healthy boobs, and I do understand if you with confidence and asymmetry, like some people might feel, and illnesses and reconstruction, whatever it may be, some people might feel different. But personally, I just feel like I really appreciate right now that my body is healthy, and I'm trying not to just obsess over little things. So does that make sense?
Yeah, makes total sense to me. And also, I think go back and listen to the episode where I discuss Asia, which is a syndrome where that involves breast implant sickness, basically, because breast implants can make you incredibly unwell, and it's a huge area of there's so much research on it, if that piques your interest. So there you have it, just a fraction of the stories and messages that Sophie and I send each other. If you follow Two's Company on Instagram, feel free to send us DMs of weird and wonderful stuff that you think we might be interested in. As you can see, we have eclectic taste. Also, sorry, but just looping back on Last One Laughing, which is a TV show you told me about in the last episode. I have been watching this, and I blame you entirely for my lack of bladder control whilst watching this at this late stage in my pregnancy. No further notes.
I am so happy that you watched it on my recommendation. Did you watch it with Nick?
Yes.
Are you watching series 1 or series 2?
We're watching series 1, the one with, because I love
Joe
who was it?
Wilkinson's so
Yes. I know, he's so good. He's just been eliminated.
The RNLI
though.
bit's really good. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, it's very... And Daisy May Cooper's in that one, isn't she?
Yeah. I mean, it's just a great premise. It's so good. It's so good. Also, Jimmy Carr's laugh. I know people talk about it all the time, but like, what is wrong with that? It's so weird.
Explain it to me, unprofessionally.
I'll keep it short and concise.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
So, explain it to me. I did not know this. So Drew Barrymore started drinking when she was 9, started taking cocaine age 12, and was in rehab by age 13. Then managed to emancipate herself from her parents, I think, who were massively part of this problem, and transformed her life into the amazingly strong, powerful woman and actor that we now know. This was news to me. Is this true? This is crazy.
Yeah. So Drew Barrymore became very famous in E.T., which I'm going to assume that everybody has seen. You've seen it, right?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, phew. She was Gertie, the little blonde girl with the pigtails, and she was only 6 when that film came out in 1982. She comes from a very famous, the Barrymore acting family, the basically Hollywood royalty going back generations. She started doing TV commercials as a toddler. I think at 11 months old, she was doing dog food adverts or something. And then E.T. made her one of the most famous child stars in the world almost overnight. But I think her upbringing was deeply dysfunctional. And she also became financially independent incredibly early, which then I guess was a blessing because it helped her get out of it. But she is pretty fucking cool now. I really like Drew Barrymore. I really rate her. I think that there's not many celebrities that are as honest and, I hate this word, but authentic, for want of not finding a better word. There's not many celebrities like that, and maybe some of that does come from having lived through quite a traumatic childhood and coming out the other side. But
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, kudos to her. I love that because I think actually that would be a very, very difficult situation to extricate yourself from. I mean, we've seen so many famous people in the limelight just spiral and end up in much worse circumstances. So I have learned a lot today.
Okay, I'm going to bring back a segment that we haven't done so far this series. So insert a new old jingle here.
Agree to disagree. Things we disagree on. Agree to disagree. Things we disagree on.
Before you introduce the topic for this segment, I will just say that the purpose of this segment is not to come to a conclusion. So listeners, if it's sounds like we've just had an argument and then we move on, that's normal.
That's on most things in our life. We'll just disagree on it and carry on. Okay, so Grace Kingswell, as well as disagreeing on Tabby Hoof shoes being cool, we also disagree on which headphones are the best headphones. And now, to be fair, I think you may be ahead of a trend here. I've noticed I keep seeing news articles about wired headphones coming back into favour, and I knew that you'd have a lot to say about it. Is it a fashion statement? Is it a health and wellness trend? Is it just the cost of living being so much that no one can afford AirPods? Take it away.
Yeah, AirPods I can't believe how much they cost. Just also note for the record, my wired headphones I am using. So I am very much hoping that this is a health and wellness related trend and that people are finally catching up about non-native EMF radiation. So Sophie and I differ on this greatly, but I wear my Oura Ring on airplane mode. I don't use Bluetooth headphones. My phone is always on airplane mode if it's in my pocket or near my son. And we turn our Wi-Fi off at nighttime. Hence, I was not ready to record this podcast at 10 a.m. because the Wi-Fi was still off. So the EMF, i.e. electromagnetic frequencies that our devices emit, aren't great for our health, though of course the naysayers will say there's no conclusive evidence for disease states like cancer, etc. But there is actually now really good data on decreased fertility rates in men and semen parameters when devices are constantly carried quite close to testicles, which is commonplace in a man's pocket. And just on a very basic energetic level, we are electromagnetic beings. Like, we pass electrons from the soles of our feet to the earth whenever we're barefoot. We also have a frequency as humans. Nature has its own electrical fields, which non-native EMF from like 3G or Wi-Fi or Bluetooth interrupts. And then this potentially causes oxidative stress, nervous system dysregulation, etc. So yeah, I really hope that it's not just that celebs have decided that the cable is really fashionable, because it is a faff, I will give you that, and that they are finally clocking on.
I actually remember in school, like 25 years ago when mobile phones first came out, I remember people saying in school, don't keep your phone in your pocket because it's affecting boys' sperm and fertility. And it's like, obviously there's no research for it then, but it was already like being talked about in school in those very early days. And I'm not discounting that we are the first generation to grow up surrounded by Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and smartphones and all the rest. And for all we know, we might discover some very long-term weird mutations because of it. But I just know I got an EMF blocking blanket for Lo when he was a baby, and Johnny researched it and just said there was no evidence and he threw it out. But I just have more important stuff to worry about than Bluetooth. There's bigger, scarier stuff in my life, and I'm a firm believer in stress being really bad for us, and stress being like the one thing that will really make us ill. So I'm just choosing not to be stressed about it. I've got the Bluetooth on my phone. We sleep with the Wi-Fi on. I have the Bluetooth on my Aura Ring. And that aside, I cannot run or cycle or swim in wired headphones. It's just not possible. So I wear these bone conductor ones normally, and I love them. And in fact, the only thing I use my wired headphones for is recording voiceovers and the occasional podcast.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, actually. In a shocking turn of events, that sometimes worrying about, like I say this to clients when we're working through mold exposure, worrying about the mold or the Bluetooth or whatever the thing is often worse than the thing itself, because you're so right that the stress of a situation can be so much more detrimental to your health than the actual thing itself. I do truly believe that. I guess it's so hard to limit exposure because it's around us all the time now, that I just do little things within my own home and on my own person to try and decrease my exposure. And I think the thing for me with headphones is that it's like they're literally right next to your brain. It's so, and the thing with EMF exposure is that distance really matters. So what you can see when you use an EMF device, like a measuring device, is that even 3 feet away from your phone drastically decreases the amount of radiation. So distance is really crucial. And that's why I just, like with headphones, I'm like, it's too close to comfort. Anyway, if anyone is interested in this topic, there is now some quite good research. So agree to disagree?
Agree to disagree. I will continue using my headphones. You continue to use yours.
And we will remain
That's how
friends.
our friendship functions.
I think it's quite healthy, really. Shall we go to the mailbag?
Send us an email if you're a really cool female. Ooh, you're such a cool female. Send us a letter to make us feel better. You make us feel better. Time for the mailbag. Time for the mailbag.
So, as we know, I've been through IVF to conceive. My son was a fresh IVF transfer, and my current child that is in utero was a frozen embryo transfer from that first round. We used my own eggs and my husband's own sperm, but Sophie here has actually been an egg donor, as well as conceiving her son naturally with her partner many years later. We had a mailbag question asking if Sophie would be happy to share her feelings on that, and I think she's happy to, and I think it could be a really interesting conversation, so let's hear it.
I was just checking, this question came from Amy. So hi, Amy. Yeah, I've actually donated eggs 5 times, which has resulted in 2 little boys. The reason I did it in the beginning was that I had a friend who couldn't conceive naturally after an illness she had as a teenager. And I remember always saying to her, like, oh, if you ever want my eggs, obviously you can have them. And that's kind of always just been my mindset around it. In my head, I've got eggs that, well, it's real. I've got eggs that I'm not using. I literally flush one down the loo every month. And there are people out there who are desperate to become parents. So if something so completely natural to me could change someone's life, I just thought, why wouldn't I do it? So yeah, I've done all the IVF drugs and the whole process multiple times. Never really had any negative side effects from it. I'm not in touch with the families by my own choice, but I have had the occasional photo over the years. This is actually funny. I did a blind test on a group of friends who've never met my son. And I showed them photos of my child and a donor child, and I asked which one they think is biologically mine, and people always pick the donor baby, which I think honestly just proves that my son looks just like his dad. Yeah, I know some people feel like very emotionally connected to the idea of a biological child, but I feel very like calm and detached about it. I don't see myself as connected emotionally or even very genetically. I just happen to be able to help someone. And I am aware perhaps when they're 18, the donor babies, they might reach out and want to be in touch. And if so, I'll just introduce them to Lo, and I'm very open to that. But, I don't know. I genuinely don't know if that's weird or not, because people either seem fascinated by it or just completely like they don't understand it. So, yeah. What do you think?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because obviously you need an egg and a sperm to create life. But there's so much that happens genetically once that embryo is growing inside a woman that also confers and dictates that child's characteristics and how they're going to be and all that, the kind of epigenetic milieu. So whilst you sort of planted the seed, so to speak, or helped create that initial spark, and obviously, yeah, like there is, it's your DNA. There's also so much else that goes into creating a life and like raising children. So I think it's brilliant. I mean, in my job, in my line of work, I work with lots of couples that do use egg donors or sperm donors because they've come so far along their fertility journey, and actually they're of an age where their egg reserve is just not there and the IVF cycles haven't worked and they do need donor eggs. And I think, from speaking to them, they all very much feel that, yeah, it's a donor egg, but it's still very much this is my baby. And in a sort of like maybe slightly similar way, but obviously a bit different, I was thinking yesterday about the fact that I only want 2 children, but Nick and I still have 5 embryos in the freezer. And at some point, we need to make a decision about what we do with those. So, you can donate eggs, you can donate sperm, you can't donate embryos, obviously. So you either keep
Can you
them
send them for
forever in the
research
freezer,
then?
yeah, or you destroy them, or you send them for research. But it's still a weird, like,
Okay.
I think when I actually come to make that decision, it's quite odd because they are literally they're my. Do you know what I mean? Like that's a conversation we can have on a later episode.
Johnny and I always said if we didn't conceive naturally, I wouldn't have done IVF or an egg donor or any of those processes. I always really wanted to foster, and I still do, but I'm just not in a financial. If I ever end up wealthy enough that we've got a spare bedroom and I don't have to work full time, I'll foster. But that does not look likely in my future. I don't know.
This is like, I don't know, you don't have to answer this question, but do you get paid as an egg donor?
No, in the UK, you can't get paid. You can be compensated. So I actually donated in California and Barbados. So I didn't get paid, but I had my expenses paid. So I went out to California for a week or Barbados for a week, and they paid for my flight and my accommodation. And then while I was there, you're on the IVF meds and going into the hospital for your little internal ultrasound every day, have your egg retrieval. So it's kind of like a holiday, but not really, because you're doing doctor stuff. But yeah, I mean, I had a great time doing it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I found the process like quite uncomfortable, but maybe doing it with youth on your side, it's always better to do things with youth on your side, isn't it? I knew from the age of 22 that if I wanted to have my own kids, I would need to have IVF. So I think my path was very much like always just set. So I didn't actually consider the other options. And I obviously feel very grateful and lucky that it's worked out twice for us. So I hope everyone found that interesting. I mean, yeah, I think it's amazing that you've done that. personally.
Yeah. I don't really talk about it much because I'm aware that some people might think it's like fucking outrageous. Anyway, shall we move on?
Yes, we can move on to just say that if you enjoyed the episode today, please follow the show on Apple Podcasts so that each episode magically appears on your phone. And you can also give us a nice little 5-star review. It does really help. It only takes a few seconds of your time. We would be very grateful.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening and engaging and for being a little part of our corner of the podcast world. We had 10 episodes in series 1, and this is episode 9 of series 2. So we're really going to try and squeeze in another episode before Grace's baby appears in the world. And we promise that we won't take a 4-year break before series 3.
Yes, we will not do that. So, shall we get on with our days?
Bye!
Bye. That's good timing because I am so desperate for the loo.
Two's company, two's company, two's company, two's company, two's company, two's company, but not 3. That's too much company. Nailed it.
Thank you so much again to Ocean for sponsoring this entire series of the podcast. We are very grateful and also thrilled to be spreading the word about such a lovely brand.
Yes, and Ocean are giving our listeners 10% off with the code Two's Company. That's 2, the number, you know the drill. Pop that in at checkout at drinkocean.co. Ocean is spelled OSHUN. And thank you so much.
I say H, not H. Find that weird. Thank you so much to Ocean. Bye-bye.